I would just like, there are tons of scams going around right now, especially with housing. Please be on the lookout for that. And that means that like, don't give anyone your personal information till you actually sign the lease. When I say lease, you sign the lease, they give you a set of keys. That was the only time that you're giving an ID. Before that, no personal information, no banking information. You don't need to pay someone money to see their places. Especially if you're contacting them on Facebook, they will always say, "Oh, pay me this money through PayPal," and all. Not, nope. It should be a legal interaction, a bank check, or physical cash. When you're signing the lease, you pay that money. That's about it. Go through your lease terms. Make sure that like, what are the lease breaking clauses? Like, when can you break your lease and whatnot? So like, understand these legal aspects. Please do your research. Rental, there are good people out there. There are really good places out there, but that also means there are also bad people out there, and there are also bad places. Yeah, and you're just starting out your life, so it's really easy to take advantage of people like you.
I think scams is very important to touch on. Like really quickly, guys, there is a lot of scams. You do not need to pay someone to go to see their places. You do not need to give them any personal banking information or any information like that. All you need is probably they might ask you for your name and a phone number to basically get in contact with you, and that's the only information you should be giving them before you go and see them, right?
Yeah.
I would say if you're a domestic student 18, 17, 18, 19 who is just getting a place, or even an international student who's just looking for a place, try to take a friend with you when you go for showings. That's very useful and very important. Like places could be, dingy. There are dangerous people out there. To be safe, just make sure you're going with one extra person.
Yeah.
Finally, I really wanted to touch on one more thing. Sorry, Mo, I know
no worries, for sure.
Yeah, so last final thing I wanted to touch on was Mo mentioned that there's a lot of issues that can come and that can affect your mental health. And I just wanted to expand on that really quickly. So what are these big issues that can come? So number one, you don't have a kitchen that's working, right? That's a big one. Number two, you don't have a bathroom that's working, and that's a big one. Like you would see, sometimes something is broken in the washroom, something is not working. It doesn't fit your needs. A bathroom and a kitchen is generally a must. Then the third one is a bedroom. Like you should make sure that you have a place which has a decent, quiet bed, like sleeping space. Because right now, like a friend of mine is looking, and he's like, "Oh, I'm finding this really crazy deal, which is like $1,700 for one person." And I'm like, $1,700 in downtown at this current time? That's kind of crazy. And he's like, "Yeah, the only problem is that it's like right up above a hospital." And I was like, "Wait, that means that you're gonna have ambulance all night?" He's like, "Yeah, but I'll deal with it." I'm like, brother, you wouldn't be able to deal with it. Like it's really bad, because it's gonna ruin your sleep. And like the last thing you need is going to work or going to university dead tired.
Yeah.
So you need that proper sleep. So those are the three things I would say. In terms of animals, make sure there's no bed bugs, there's no cockroaches. There are websites that actually list buildings which have a bed bug infestation and a cockroach infestation. Fun fact, I have lived in a place which had bed bug infestation before and a cockroach infestation multiple times. It's not fun. You really need to make sure your food is packed every night so that the cockroaches can't feed on them. You have to make sure that when you're sleeping, you're completely covered. You have to call the authorities so that they have to get rid of the bed bugs. But getting rid of the bed bugs isn't one day affair, and you will get bitten by bed bugs for weeks or months until the issue gets resolved. And the mental peace really does suffer.
I would like to just add in, that was the year that we all ignored Arnav. Honestly, we were not friends with him. That was the reason why I was smiling. It was, honestly, I had so much mental peace and sanity.
Bro, what about the other 3 years?
I have pictures of me. Look, I swear, Arnav, like being friends with you, I still have white hair like, somewhere here. I like they were not there. That 1 year that I became like closer to Arnav is the year that I started growing white hair. It's nuts. Like even my dad.
Bro, you just got wiser. You know, like how they say, like when you have white hair, you got.
No, oh my god! Like it's actually like, crazy. Like I was growing out white hair, talking to, like. Can you imagine how much stress I was going through?
Okay.
And in terms of the washroom, yeah, Arnav also clogged his toilet a bunch of times. We don't want to talk about it.
I,
but like,
I did not.
That's exactly why from hit. I'm kidding. I'm actually joking. I'm joking.
But yeah, guys, just be aware. I think like the bed bugs, that fleas, you know, like if you are someone who's allergic to dogs or something, make sure when you're going to a place, you know, there isn't like a lot of like the previous owner wasn't living with dogs, or if you're living in a house, there isn't a dog in the house that you're sharing with. That can definitely be a very, very bad situation for you. Okay, Mo, do you have anything to add on this topic?
No, I think you covered everything really well. Again, I would just like, there are tons of scams going around right now, especially with housing. Please be on the lookout for that. And that means that like, don't give anyone your personal information till you actually sign the lease. When I say lease, you sign the lease, they give you a set of keys. That was the only time that you're giving an ID. Before that, no personal information, no banking information. You don't need to pay someone money to see their places. Especially if you're contacting them on Facebook, they will always say, oh, pay me this money through PayPal and all. Not. Nope. It should be a legal interaction, a bank check, or physical cash. When you're signing the lease, you pay that money. That's about it. Go through your lease terms. Make sure that like, what are the lease breaking clauses? Like when can you break your lease and whatnot? So like, understand these legal aspects. Please do your research. Rental, there are good people out there. There are really good places out there, but that also means there are also bad people out there, and there are also bad places. Yeah, and you're just starting out your life, so it's really easy to take advantage of people like you, because you don't have a lot of experience. So talk to someone, seek guidance before when anything gives up like a red flag and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, just FYI, like last thing I wanted to mention before I jump to the next question. FYI, like if there's some people who are coming into workforce and like are starting to work, or have already been working and doing housing search, the similar aspect applies to you. The only thing is, instead of university, you probably would be looking for something near your work area. And not necessary, like chances are housing is more expensive near work areas as well, similar to university, because there's more people. Of course, not necessary for nowadays when it's going remote. It's not always true for everyone, but if you're looking for housing near your work area, this should apply to you as well. I think the next topic I really want to touch upon more is something that applies to everyone at every stage of their lives. Is what do you look for in a housing place? What would be your list like?
So do you want to know about my personal opinion, or do you want to know about like I have some very specific things?
Yes, I would like to know about your personal opinion.
Okay, so
I'm very curious.
Very curious about. Oh damn, bro! Like, why are you trying to get? So I think for a place, I would like to have like I definitely right now at least. Sorry. Let me restart.
Paint the picture. Like if we were living together, what would you like to see?
No. Okay, I just would like to say this: we would never live together. Like no matter how close I get, first of all, I don't think I ever want a roommate to begin with. Not because like I think I just can't live with a roommate.
But by roommate, you mean separate rooms or like same room?
Bro, where are my personal boundaries right now? What is happening?
Okay, go ahead.
Absolutely never. But I think one thing that and again, this depends on the financial situation that I'm in right now. Based on my current financial situation, I like my independence. So there's nothing wrong with having a roommate, and then there's nothing wrong with living with another person and whatnot. I just think that like I'm a very like I'm very extroverted when I talk to other people at work. I go outside, I hang out with friends. So, like it's a lot of like people. But I've done my MBTI. I'm also kind of like I sit right at the border of like extrovert and introvert. So like I also need some of my own personal space to like recoup some of my energy. So when I come back home, I don't want to talk to anyone. Not because like it's like I just not because of that. Like I just sometimes like just doing like dumb brain things. Like I play FIFA a lot at night, and it's really bad. It's affecting my sleep right now. But like, which is so all in all, what I'm trying to say is like having a roommate, you have to interact with them, you have to be social with them, and you know if they're your close friends and you're not talking to them, a lot of the time it's like, hey man, like is something wrong with me? And I'll be like, nothing is wrong with you. It's just the kind of person that I'm very like I like having my own space. So which is why I think an ideal place for me is like a one bed, one bath, especially if I'm living by myself without any of my partners and whatnot. So I would like having a one bed, one bath. Again, this is just because of the current financial situation that I'm in. I would like anything more than 600 to 650 square feet at least. My current apartment is like 850 square feet. I really like this like living area space. As you can see, like this desk, like where I'm working, this is like kind of like it faces this wall with the windows on the side. I get to separate out my work from my personal life because I'm like for working I'm facing this way, but as soon as I'm done work, I keep on facing the TV, so I never have to look at it. Same as like my dining table right here. Like when I sit on this side, like literally on this side, I'm facing the TV, so I don't have to think about work. So having that separation is really, really important for me. And finally, my sleeping space, which is my bedroom, it's on a completely different bed. I don't want to have any of these distractions. Like for my bed, I just have a bed and my closet, like in that room, and with like my side tables, obviously. So it's like it's a separation for me. Like having specific and explicit separation of my different stages of my life. So working, playing FIFA, eating, sleeping. These are very important to me, and to get all that done, I think I need at least like a 650 square feet apartment. But I would also like a one bed, one bath at least. Maybe if I ever get a pet, I might upgrade to like a two bed, two bath.
Yeah.
Two bed, one bath. But right now, I think that's the ideal goal.
Yeah, and see, like as Mo mentioned, like these are the things that I would personally wouldn't have thought about as in detail as Mo would. My preferences, my thought process would come completely different from house. Like actually, like the first thing I would have thought about is where my house is located, right? Like if I was looking for housing, I would be like, hey, is there a grocery store nearby? Is there a medical hospitals nearby? And generally, like with downtown, that's always the case. Like there is a hospital nearby, there is a medical store nearby. So that's definitely something. The first thing I would think about is like in case of like issues that happen, like do I have the survival stuff? Then I would move on to my housing place, and I would be like, hey, do I have like a washroom in the place, a decent washroom? Do I have a decent kitchen, right? That would be the next stage, right? I generally don't care about TV. I do have one right now, but I barely use it. So it's mostly like if someone comes into my place, like some guest comes, it's a good place where we can sit on the couch and relax. But realistically, I'm not a big fan of watching TV. Most of in general, my house is very minimalistic. It's catered to like literally everything is based on need and not in terms of like to impress or like to even like show something nice generally. So you wouldn't see too many plants at my place, you wouldn't see too many pictures. It's a very basic place right now. I might want to decorate it at some point. I want to add some football stuff. So fun fact, me and Mo, we both love football. If you guys haven't seen the previous episodes,
it's actually safer. You're in America. I'm kidding.
Okay. But yeah, like we both do live alone right now, and yeah, we do like that. Generally, try to get a place which is noise free. Maybe has its own washer dryer if possible. That's what I try to look for, and has a dishwasher. Like I think at this point of my life, I wouldn't take a place which doesn't have a good dishwasher. I do look for refrigerator if it's a decent size refrigerator that can store all my food. I remember the first year when I was living, the refrigerator was really tiny. It was like a mini fridge, and that just did not store in every food item I got. And it was really a hassle. Like just to take out stuff, things would go bad. It was really a bad experience in terms of refrigeration. In terms of bed, I like a queen bed. Like at least I want a big bed. I've always slept on a queen bed, so I do prefer a queen size bed. For anyone who doesn't know, these are very standard sizes. I know like some countries don't follow those sizes, but queen size bed is like the biggest you can get for two people to sleep on. Or the smallest you can get for two people to sleep on, I guess. Yeah, so that's that. In terms of lighting, I'm okay like furnishing it myself, so I don't really care about it. This place that I got, I wanted air conditioning because Vancouver does get hot in the summers, and having an air conditioning really helps me keep comfortable. So these are the small things I would care about. But yeah, like a lot of people, I think they forget like to check for grocery stores to ensure that in a medical emergency where they can go. And I think that's definitely very important and something you should consider while buying a house.
Sure. But again, I would like to add this in. It's just because of the current financial situation that I'm in. I have a car, which makes it basically like makes the city that I'm living in. Like I'm in Seattle right now. I don't need to stay downtown just because of the fact that I have a car and I can go anywhere, do my grocery shopping. But if the situations were different, if I wasn't as flexible with my financial capabilities, I would be living a very different lifestyle. Just
Right.
would like to add that in.
Mo, last thing, like before we wrap up, last question.
Yeah.
You might have roommates. Did you ever have roommates?
I actually did. I lived downtown for a year when I was in when I was working in the city of Toronto. You went over, remember?
Harshan?
Harshan's place. Then Sadiq was there. Sadiq took over. Shout out to that boy Sadiq, who has been watching our podcast too. We might bring him as a guest, or we might not, just for shits and giggles. He actually wanted to come in as a guest, and now if you don't bring him, that would be kind of nice because we talk about him. Maybe we should just tag him. The next time this video is out, we tag him. Be like, Sadiq, shout out, but you're not coming. I'm kidding, Sadiq. If you're watching this, we would love to have you. We were just joking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did have a roommate, and I was living downtown Toronto near, I would like to say Bay and College. I had one of the best roommates of all time. I don't know if I was a good roommate. I probably wasn't. But I definitely had a really good roommate. Sadiq was an amazing person. This guy is very considerate, very kind, very clean, and very respectful of your boundaries. So I think all in all, it was like I didn't have any bad experience with my roommates or roommate that I had. It's just that right now I think when I come back home, I become a very individualistic person. So I don't think I can have a roommate right now.
Yeah. And for me, like I, of course, shared my place. Like I had a couple of times when I was rooming, right? I lived with a really close friend of mine called Ritwich. Great guy. Again, shout out to him. And then there is other two friends I lived with. There was Eric, and then there was Addy, and they're both really close friends of mine now. Again, great guys. I never had like that many issues. Although like the bed bug situation that happened, all three of us got affected by that, and we all three had to figure out a way to cope up with this problem. So it was a stressful situation at home for sure, but it was kind of nice knowing that you weren't the only person struggling through it, I guess. And like we all three came up with a very interesting solutions sometimes. I remember even Eric, even a small solution, like Eric was like, hey, I'm just gonna go and live with my family. I was like, wait, why don't I do that? And Adi was like, why don't I do that? And we all three just went with our different families until the place got fumigated, the first time at least. And so we avoided the worst cases of bed bugs in the beginning, So it's just really nice to know someone is in the same situation. as you, and like someone there is like in general who you can actually talk to. Of course, like Mo, you want to live individually. Even I do live individually right now. But I do want to say, like, when I was living with my roommates, I really liked the fact that, like, once I came back home, there was someone I could talk to, someone I can go out with, just chill with. It was really nice. And then, like, if there's someone who are completely unknown to you, their friend group kind of like merges into your friend group, and in general it just becomes like a bigger friend circle, which is always, in my opinion, always good, because I'm very extroverted.
Fair. No, absolutely fair. Very fair.
So what are the red flags more like that you would look at in roommates?
Damn. The biggest red flag, they're not Arnav. Like, do not live with this guy. I just would like to like put that out there.
Bro, you know how many basic roommates would kill to be my roommate?
I don't know about them, but like I would kill myself. Again, content warning, I would never do that. This is just like a phrase. I like saying these phrases, but I would never do that. Just as FYI. But I think red flags in a roommate, being clean is one of them. I think I would have hated to have a roommate who was not clean. Very inconsiderate. So someone who just like throws parties especially when you're trying to like relax and study and like you're not in the mood. Like someone who doesn't ask you bring guests over, because you guys are living together.
Yeah.
Like at least like give like a heads up saying that, hey, by the way, I would like to have a guest over.
Yeah.
Have mutual respect, so which means like have an understanding what that looked like. Maybe you need the apartment at some point, so if you do, what happens? You're trying to bring a guest over, what are the law, like figure those things out. Like, and someone who doesn't respect it is like a huge red flag. So if you're sharing rent, so like let's say you're paying the rent and the other person's paying you, rather than like both of you guys paying rent to the landlord, and if they don't pay their rent on time, or if they're like holding on to their money, that's a huge red flag. Like I personally think so. Someone who steals your food, both of you guys living together, you guys are sharing a fridge, like they shouldn't be doing that. Someone who uses your stuff without considering it, someone who isn't willing to like share expenses, I guess. Like you're living together, common expense means like toiletries, groceries, buying basic grocery stuff so that everyone can use. So these things, I think these are some really big red flags, and you should definitely talk through these things and like what the consequences are before moving in together.
Yeah, and I think you really touched upon most of the points that I was going to mention. I think that it's good. Like I think we can have like lists, like we can actually create our own list, like 1, 2, 3, 4 point, and we can build that. That's actually crazy. But yeah, like I think those are really good points. Like I think not everyone wants to talk to you at all times, right? They're not really your therapist at the end of the day. So sometimes you have to respect their boundaries. You have to make sure that, like, see, is your roommate really interested in talking to you at the moment? If they're not, maybe leave them alone and just do your own thing, right? Secondly, dishes. Like, don't leave the dishes. I know like this is something you wouldn't be able to talk through. Almost everyone says they're neat and clean, but just for make sure you talk about this. Like, are you really excessively into cleaning, right? Like a lot of people want their house really clean, really organized, whereas someone like me, for example, I'm okay with being a little lackluster, to be very honest. It's not like dishes do stay out for me, and I don't really care because I don't have a roommate, but like I don't clean my dishes right away.
Nasty, bro. Nasty.
Yeah.
I'm into very excessive cleaning too. Like,
So for example, like, and at that point there would be a conflict, right? Like, for example, like if I see someone who's like, for example, like I know if you don't clean your house, right? If you don't clean the floor, whatever, XYZ, that often, or the washroom, like some people like to clean their washroom maybe every 3 days. I would clean it like every week, maybe like every 2 weeks, right? So I don't clean it that often as other people would like to. So it really depends, right? It really depends on how much you think it's necessary, right? Of course, you do like kind of like some people do like mold themselves into other person's personality when it comes to cleaning. But it's very hard when there's no internal voice coming from you that's saying, hey, like, like it's dirty and you need to clean it, kind of. But I've lived with a lot of roommates. I've had experiences. I think I think the most important part of being a roommate is someone who's accommodating. I think that's the best feature you can have. That's the green flag I look for in someone. Like if you make a mistake, they're like, okay, you know what happened? Like, try not to do it again and just move on from there. Having good communication skills, that's always a good green flag, I think. So for me, like, those are the two big green flags I look for. Of course, like, the red flags that Mo mentioned are great red flags. Don't hog up the space. Don't, like, it is both of your places. Mo did kind of touch upon being a little more flexible as well. Like, if you're having a party, like, maybe being flexible and giving him the place for today. Or if he's like in between midterms or exams, like, maybe not making the noise at that time, right? For me, you don't, if you were my roommate, you wouldn't have to ask permission to get like one guest. But yeah, if you were throwing a party, I would 100% would prefer if you were giving me a heads up saying that, hey, I'm planning to throw this party today. So yeah, that's probably it. I think we touched upon, so this video, we've touched upon the finances, we've touched upon the roommates, we've touched upon where you should be living. I think like if you have the money, I would, like, as Mo mentioned, live in downtown. If you don't have the money, you can live uptown, but just to let you know, it does hamper your mental strength. In terms of roommate, if you don't have the money, you can share the rent prices with someone. And for someone who, like, I know this is the end scene, but for someone who's new and coming into the country, roommate doesn't mean you're sharing a room. It means you're sharing a house. We should have clarified this. I'll probably put that in the description so it's clear somewhere. Yeah, and except that, I think having a car helps, like as in Mo case, but if not, try to look out for groceries and other issues that could emerge outside of house factors. Make sure you have those into consideration and have a budget set up for yourself.
Right.
Yeah, that's it from me, Mo. If you have,
Also, folks, like, if you'd like to like follow us on Instagram, we have our Insta handle. Again, it will show up right here. I'm hoping
right here, right. Your hand is not visible.
People you just keep on pointing at like everything, like
up, down, somewhere. I'll put it in the description, guys. I'll see if I can put a card, but yeah, I'll definitely add that in the description. So definitely follow us on Instagram. We will be adding stories and information like that is not there on the YouTube channel. Yeah, and I'm working on the other podcast stores like Apple and Spotify, etc. But they're currently not on that. At some point, we will add it on those podcasts so you guys can listen to it to and fro from work or to and fro from university as well.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say. Other than like rambling on like Arnav and like why we would not be perfect roommates. We would. I would never room with this guy.
I would be an amazing roommate. I'm just saying.
The fact that he leaves his dishes out, that's actually nuts. I got into arguments with my younger brother while trying to take care of him in the same house because like this man would not clean his dishes. I'm very particular.
Bro, you're a 60-year-old guy, okay? Like you are, like you're just like an old guy, like who just loves to clean and clean and clean. That's all. I
just like having my mental peace and sanity. Okay, that is all it is.
all right, guys. I think that's we come to our end of the episode. Thank you for joining us. Mo, do you have anything?
Like, comment, subscribe.
Subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, dude, I think we can end it. I think you talked enough.